Hey guys, it's Luciano Saber with Aspiring Hollywood. I'm very, very excited, very thrilled to have a great person in our studios today and a guest on the show. His name is Tim Russ. You've seen him before many, many times. I was just telling him his IMDb page shows somewhere around 97 acting credits, about 20 directing, I'm sure more directing credits. So certainly a man that knows what he's talking about when it comes to Hollywood and the industry. Tim, welcome to the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So tell me what are you involved with right now? What are you doing?
Right now, primarily as an actor, I'm waiting for word on a Disney pilot that's sitting on the burner right now. They have their schedules are not like network schedules as far as having to be done by a certain time during the year. They sort of, because it's a cable show, they can float whenever they want to. They can bring their shows up. So we're just in a holding pattern now to see what the networks want to do with this show that I would be working on as a regular if it gets picked up. So just right now on hold for that. And playing a lot of music in town still. I've been
Nice.
playing for guitar for 30 years and singing. So
Tell us where can we see it?
Right now, typically every fourth Sunday, I'm at the Kibitz Room, which is on Fairfax Boulevard, which is right north of Beverly in LA, and it's right next to Cantor's Deli.
Oh yeah.
The Kibitz Room's a little small, divey blues bar, but it's really fun. And there's no cover there, you can just walk in. We also play at Tax, T-A-I-X, on Sunset every once in a while. And also what I'm going to be doing in the next month or so, I've got a few gigs out of town for conventions, and these are still related to Star Trek, actually. So I'm going to be going to those and also performing at those as well, musically. So that and hopefully by the end of June, I'm talking to someone right now about possibly directing a feature in Virginia.
Right.
The latter part of June. We're just discussing a potential start dates for that down there. So a little low budget feature, sort of supernatural.
But those are the gems, right? The low budget ones.
They
right?
certainly can be.
Yeah.
From an acting standpoint, the best roles that I've had have been on independent, low budget features. Those are the best parts I've had.
Right.
They can go outside the box, and you get a lot more creative opportunities on shows like that for acting roles. So I really enjoy working on those, especially even in front of camera, whenever I get a chance to.
Yeah. Now you've been directing quite a bit as well. I know you got your start in acting, but you moved on to directing. And which do you enjoy most?
I have to say that I really enjoy the directing more so than the acting, primarily because, I mean, obviously, if you are acting, you're playing a piece of the canvas. You know, it may be the upper left-hand corner, it may be the middle. You're playing one part of that canvas, and as a director, you have the entire canvas to work with. So the challenge, as a director, creatively, is much greater than that of working as an actor. So and the perspective obviously is different as well. So as a director, you get to tell a story. You get to bring the story up off the page, off the text, and make it and bring it to its feet and give it the visual medium.
Now, do you feel that you have an advantage coming from the world of acting? And when you direct, do you work with actors a little bit better, do you think, than most, or how?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, definitely, because I've been in front of camera for so many years prior to this, it definitely helps, because now you know the language. You know how to speak to actors, you know how to communicate with them, and one level above that is being able to read them, because each actor is going to be different in terms of how you want to explain or how you can get them to reach a certain goal. Sometimes, on occasion, it may be just a mechanical thing, and other times it may be something that has to do with the emotion of the range of the scene and what that moment may be. So there's different ways to approach that, depending upon who the actor or actress is. You have to figure out what is their environment, what environment do they work best in, how is it that they like to be communicated with in this room. Some actors and actresses really depend upon you for feedback, others not so much. So and still others, if it's myself casting the role, what I try to do at the beginning is to cast the person who is exactly right for that part.
Right.
So
naturally,
that when they walk in, that their personality is part of it. They walk in and bang, it's done, you know. And whatever their walk and talk is, whatever their phrasing is, whatever their voice is like, whatever their mannerisms are like, whatever their physical look is like, When they walk in there, man, it's like the door opens and they're standing there, and you believe it right off the bat.
Right.
And if you can get that part right, then there's only a few more miles you have to go, and then it's just tweaking and turning and things like that.
Right. So is there a genre in particular that you're interested in, or a story that you want to tell, or anything? What's your aspiration? I'm open to working in just about any genre. I mean, I've done so far science fiction, and I've done some light comedy. I haven't done any real heavy drama as far as long format material goes. So I wouldn't mind working in terms of in something like fantasy or action adventure, things like that. There are more challenges in those because of what you're doing with camera, as opposed to a straight drama, which a straight drama is just, you want to focus more on, you don't want the camera to be a factor. Talking
you want to be
heads,
you want the actors to tell the story, and you want to be on them.
Sure.
So the camera becomes more invisible. If it becomes something that's more action oriented, maybe with blue screen or chases or fight scenes or supernatural stuff, that becomes more about what you're doing with the camera and how you use it. So there's a couple different challenges depending upon how you go to try to tell the stories in each one of these genres.
Right. How do you feel about today's technology, meaning the internet and all these opportunities that opened up? Well,
this is the thing, is that because of the media, not social media necessarily, but because of the advent of YouTube, the advent of the technology of the cameras, the advent of the computer for editing, and things like that, it's day and night difference. In the old days, and it's the same for music as well. In the old days, you had to buy film stock, which was very expensive. You had to process the stock, then you had to telecine the stock, and then and at one time you had to put it on a flatbed and cut the negative, or a work print. Now and then after a while you were able to transfer it to computer and cut it on computer, and then do your final print. Nowadays it's a camera, a handful of lights, a couple locations, some actors, and your laptop, and you're pretty much done.
Exactly.
There's no stopping anyone anymore. It's insane, and every 6 months, it jumps there again in terms of the availability of whatever new technology is out. It's like a mad scramble.
Exactly. And you had some experience with it, didn't you? On bloomers, did you work on that?
Oh, sure. Yes, on bloomers, a perfect example. I mean,
sure.
we came in. We don't have a half-ton grip truck outside. We have just a few lights. We got a very brilliant director of photography, Henry, that does just amazing work with just a handful of lights.
Sure.
And this camera that, for all intents and purposes, when I was growing up, is just an SLR.
Exactly.
And it's shooting video.
Right.
That's stunning.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on here? This is where it's come, and it's for a few grand, you're off and running.
It's mind-boggling, because I grew up in this business on 35, Super 16 initially,
right, Super 16,
and then Columbia College in Chicago, and then 35 millimeter and so forth. And I experienced everything you're talking about.
Right.
The negative and the negative cutter. What happened to the negative cutter?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was probably maybe 5 of them left.
Exactly.
So there's a few features are still shooting on film, but for the most part, it's all.
Right.
Now they just transfer everything to DI. They just transfer it over to film after it's already cut, and there goes the negative cutter. It's all done.
Exactly. Let me tell you, look, I mean, you've had such a great career, and I bet a lot of people are envious of your career and admire your work. What was your defining moment? What was that one thing, or maybe a series of events that led to that one thing that pushed you over?
The very first thing occurred in 1985. Prior to that, 1984 was probably the worst year I had in this town, and I've always remembered that year. Even today, that year is very important, because it was just, from a work standpoint, it was just horrible. I had no agent, I had no work, I had no nothing. By the end of that year, I joined a very small agency, and I almost left them before they hired this agent that came in there, and she had been selling used cars or something prior to joining the agency, like only 6 months prior. But she was a really good used car salesman. So
I love it.
She came in. I met with her. She said, "Okay, we'll see what we can have." In less than a month after she joined the agency, I booked my first feature. She got me into Paramount to read for a feature film. She booked my first feature. I had 7 weeks of work in Canada. She booked another feature with Walter Hill, and then a couple of commercials I got out of that agency. At that time, everything started rolling then. After that point, everything was rolling. I went from working on some films to working television.
Yeah.
Because in this business, strangely enough, as I like to tell people, there are no rules and they are strictly adhered to. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you start off in commercials, that's where you're probably going to be for a while. Start off doing TV, that's going to be your back. You start doing feature films, they're going to bring you in feature films.
Sure.
So it's hard to make the transition up the ladder from, say, for example, commercials up to features. But it's very easy to go the other way. So if I started working in features, I started to get a lot more TV work because I was coming out of features.
Right.
For some reason, they feel if you're working on a feature film with Walter Hill, oh, well, he certainly can be good enough to do our TV show. Right. So the auditions opened up far more for television. That was the first, the first moment was just get the ball rolling, and then after that, there were some hit and misses with some series here and there. I was on for a little while on a couple of different shows that didn't last very long. A couple of movies here and there. I just worked steadily, you know, from job to job for a number of years until the second moment, which was landing the series on Star Trek Voyager. Because that was a series that was going to stay on for 7 years at least, because of the nature of the franchise. So we sort of targeted that show. I remember telling my agent, look, we gotta get this gig because this gig means we stay on the air. Because the shows I was on before didn't stay on. So we got to get this one because if it's a good chance it'll stay on. So we did we sacrificed a few things to make sure that we were available to do that, and we had a chance to read for it. I had already worked for the producer a couple of times on previous, you know, episodics in Star Trek, so I already had a foot in the door. So it turned out that the role was right, which is key. I was right for the role. I could fall out of bed and walk in there and get that thing because I was right for the part. Sure. So it worked out as a major hurdle. So the first moment was getting the ball rolling in the business so that you could work, you could get in the door in auditions. Once the agent has your, or the manager has your credits, if you just booked a gig yesterday, then it's easier for them to sell you for the next one. And that's all they say is, oh yeah, he's just guest starring on blah, blah, blah. Would you like to see him? Yeah. Done. Sure. And that's how it works. So once the ball got rolling, it was not difficult to get me in on other auditions. And of course, it's a volume business. Oh,
and I'm sure that talent also has,
there is
has a lot to do with it.
If you're going, there is definitely a certain degree of talent, but on top of that, even more so, there's a degree of, are you right for the role? Yeah. Because I know what parts I'm going in for that I have the best shot at. Yeah. And I know the parts I'm going in for that I do not have the best shot at. They have gone in to read for several kinds of roles, and I never get them. Yeah. I'm only going to get a spectrum like this, and I know what that spectrum is. I know where to go in. The bad guys play bad guys, the good guys play good guys, the nerds play nerds, blah, blah, blah. That's how it works. Yeah. Especially for TV. It's almost cookie cutter. So that was the two moments. The Trek series was definitely a moment that elevated my career because it was a long-running series. It was fairly well known, and we were on it for 7 years. It was a defining moment, not only financially, but also in terms of making contacts and opening up the doors for other types of work, whether it be voiceover work or directing work. Right. So that's primarily what was a major moment, major change right there. Right.
Now, a lot of filmmakers, a lot of artists have fears, insecurities.
Yes.
I know I do, all the time.
Yeah.
I've written, I don't know how many screenplays already. I still ask people, what do you think? You know, what do you think of the story arc? What do you think of the character?
Yes.
Does my character change or not? What's your fear?
Well, I think my fear would have to do with, you know, my apprehension or my anxiety is based on what's next. Where's the next job coming from? I mean, that for me, you know, what's the next project? When I'm not, when I don't have anything on the horizon, there's nothing going on. It's okay for a while because I'm used to that. But my fear is I would not want it to continue indefinitely. So I'm looking for, to me, it's, you know, will I be working again on something? Will I have another break? Will I have another job? Will I have another anything? So it has to do more with just working, staying busy. The aspect of what I've created, whether it's an acting role or whether it's something I directed and I want somebody to take a look at, or something I've written, take a look at it. I'm with you on the fact that, to me, rather than my saying, you know, here's what it is, oh, it's really good, oh, it's really funny, oh, it's really scary, you know, take a look at it and tell me what you think. Yeah. And that's what you need. Exactly. You tell me what you think, right. You know, and I would rather you know, either enjoy the script or the song or the movie or the acting role or whatever it is, are you happy with it? Do you like it? Do you think it works? And I honestly want that. Right? Yes, well, because rather than me trying to validate it, I'd rather everybody else validate it.
Sure.
And if you get 10 out of 10, you get 6 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 people that say, yeah, this is groovy, I love it, this is great, then your job is done. I mean, that's essentially what you're looking for. Is a decent percentage on, feedback of what you like, rather than me trying to tout everything. If people want to know what I do, look at my demo. Here it is. Exactly. I got my directing. Here it is. Yeah. I've got you play music. Yeah, I play music. Here it is. Here's the songs. Here's the tunes. Or come and see me live. You tell me what you think.
Right.
And that's it. The apprehension and anxiety has to do with whether or not I'm going to be doing something next month. I just want to keep busy.
And you're not alone, and that's why I keep telling people that send me, we have our audience members are all over the world. They send emails and questions and so forth. And I keep telling them, you have to diversify. If you're an actor, you can't just spend your entire life being an actor.
Right.
You have to diversify. You have to direct. You have to produce. You have to write. You have to try your hand in more things that are entertainment, if that's the industry you want to be in.
Yeah.
Just so that you can survive over the length of time that it takes to make it.
Sure. Yeah. I agree. If you have the talent and the ability to be able to do voiceover, for example, or to do some writing, to start off maybe doing short format first and then doing long format. But if you have something, a knack for any of those things, definitely exploit those things. If you're good at producing, if you're good at pulling together people for projects, exploit that whenever you can, because without the projects, nothing goes. Nobody works at anything. Right. So that's very true. And I think also. If you're primarily doing acting work and that is your main strength, you're going to have to, I want to say, reinvent yourself over time. You're going to have to. There are going to be times when you're not going to be working that much. You're going to be hot. You're going to be busy, and then it's going to cool off. You may have to wait a while to come back into the scene and work again. Maybe a couple of years down the line. It's been a while, and you come back, and all of a sudden, people are seeing you for the first time. New casting directors, new producers, new shows, and all of a sudden they've forgotten what you've done before. And now you can come back and do this, something along that lines again. Yeah. So as far as if you're going to, like I said, if you're not going to diversify, then you have to be ready to reinvent yourself. But I tell people the same thing. I said, man, if you've got, because of the availability of the internet and you can put whatever you do online and people can see it. And if it's really good, all of a sudden you've got people calling you. If you're able to do something on your own and create something on your own, whatever it may be, it could be scripted drama, it could be reality, it could be something else, you had better take advantage of that. Or at least ally yourself with somebody who's got the skills to be able to do it.
Sure.
You find somebody who's a good writer and work with them, and that's all they want to do is write, and they've got good material. Ally yourself with them. And I was
speaking of that, I was so impressed of Bloomers, because like I said, I watched a couple of the episodes, and you guys did a phenomenal job, and you won a Best Director award.
Yes.
What was that? Indie Soaps, I believe, or something like that?
Yes, Indie Soap Awards. We've won a Bronze Telly Award. We've won LA Festival.
Wow, that's great.
Web Fest, rather. I tell you what, you have to have the writing, and the foundation has to be there. And Matt put together an amazing script, 6 episodes. I had an amazing co-director and DP, Henry, that did such a great job on the project. And a good cast of talent. I mean, the actors that came in there, they were ready to go. I mean, again,
that helps, right?
Yes, Matt had put together an amazing cast of people who had a chance to work on the material in workshops and put it together almost like a Broadway play. And this thing came off like gangbusters. But the writing was down, the script was down, we had the technology to do it properly, and we had the people behind the camera and in front of the camera who knew what they were doing. So, bingo, we've got awards coming in left and right. I mean, the thing hadn't even been out there that long before they were winning awards. And all that is just such like icing on the cake, when you do these projects, because there are thousands of them out there by now. There's so many people doing these kinds of projects. To stand out amongst all of that really takes a little something, to receive the awards or the nominations or the benefits. The reactions and things from these from doing them and putting them out there, and they're just out there. Sure. They're out there on that same medium that everybody else has access to, and that everybody else can contribute to.
Sure.
And to get the kind of feedback we've gotten, you know, it's truly the word ensemble pretty much says it all.
It is, and out of the millions and millions of videos that are out there on YouTube and Blip TV and Vimeo and all these other sites, I mean, for you guys to stand out, that's great, and congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Any last words, any last parting words to the aspiring community out there of filmmakers?
Well, I would say that at this point in time, because technology is changing every 3 to 6 months, everything is changing. And not everybody can say exactly where it's going and how it's going to be. So if you can place yourself at the crest of the wave in some way, shape, or form, try to anticipate what's going to be next, that's going to be your strongest point. So whatever it is you're working on or whatever it is you're creating, try to keep that in mind, because this is, and to be able to take advantage of where the wave is going to go for the changing technology. How is information going to be out there? How is it going to be viewed? How are people going to have access to it? And also, what is the nature of that type of entertainment? What is that going to be? We didn't used to have reality shows, now we do.
Exactly.
What's going to be next? Is there going to be some evolution from that?
And as an actor, I can tell you this, when reality shows came out, my God, I was so upset. I'm like, no, you're taking prime time,
that's right.
You know, prime time spots.
That's right.
Know, and now, unfortunately, I have to kind of join the, the crowd because.
Right. Now you start developing reality shows. Now you start creating concepts for reality shows. Rather than trying to write scripted long format, because I can sell that with just a pitch in 5 minutes. If I have enough of them, somebody might buy one, and then all of a sudden now I'm in charge of the project. You see, and that's what we were talking about earlier. You can come up with a concept. You don't have to be. You don't have to write a full-length screenplay to come up with a good pitch for something like that.
Or do a sizzle reel, or
exactly. And wow, look at that. And of course, the sizzle reel can be shot that easily with the technology we have. And plus, and also, if it's not a reality show as we know it now, it may be the next kind of reality show. What's the next concept and the next wave? So just to be aware of what's coming in terms of how to use that technology, and also be aware of what's coming in terms of what you create. So what's going to be the next, where is it going from here forward? Especially young people who are growing up, in the computer age. My buddy likes to say we are technology refugees, and the young people are technology natives. So the natives will know exactly how to. They'll be thinking, and they're wired in that sense to know what's coming next and sort of feel that and be in the crest of the wave. You want to be there as much as possible if you're starting out, because it's here. It's here and it's now, and it's not going away. And if anybody can master that, guys, and if you can understand where the wave is going to next, I can guarantee you every studio is going to want to be in business with you. That's right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
You have to be a fortune teller.
Exactly.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us on Aspiring Hollywood. We appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching. Please visit us at aspiringhollywood.com and our YouTube channel as well. Until next time, I'm Luciano Saber. See you then.